Hello, everybody. Welcome to Unsung Heroes. My name is Cynthia Bergon.
I'm Chris Welrich. Hi.
Hi, Chris. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm all right. It's been a week.
It's been a week for me too. It's crazy. It's been a week. It has been definitely a week. You can tell from my hair. My crazy hair.
We want a project, I think, at the beginning of the week or beginning of last week, and we start the project next week. We're on site and installing, so it's been a bit of a moment.
Okay. All right. So before we get started, welcome to Unsung Heroes, everybody. Please, please, please like, subscribe, follow, lightly fondle, slightly press, everything TETV, everything Unsung Heroes. We've got some great shows on the channel, and I think I saw a new show. I think that's cool. Go check out our newsletters and all of our shows on Unsung Heroes and Themed Entertainment, Themed Experience TV. Yeah, I need to change that. Themed Experience TV. I'm tired. It's Friday. I haven't had my drink yet, as usual. Chris?
Yeah.
Our thoughts. Save me.
Would you like to mention who our guest is first, and then I'll do some shower thoughts?
Oh, yes. Okay. Our guest is Caroline Montague, and she is our very first architect, specialized architect, like a real architect that has a diploma and everything and went to architect school and everything. So I'm excited. I'm like personally excited because I would love to see more architects on this show because I think they're cool. I think that's a cool job to do.
Always need a building.
We always do need a building. Yes, exactly. And in France, at least, architects do not understand. I met an architect yesterday and I said, hey, you know what? If I were to tell you that there's an industry looking for architects, would you be interested in knowing what that industry is? And he was like, well, yeah, of course. Everyone's looking for jobs in this industry. Every architect is looking for a job in France. And I was like, well, theme parks. And he looked at me and he was like, you guys need architects?
And museums. Any attraction needs a building.
Yeah, of course. But I was like, well, yes, of course, you idiot. I'm not going to rant about
the job. Cynthia will call you an idiot. Great stuff. Cheers. Wonderful.
Oh,
that actually leads me into like one of my first shower thoughts of the ones I will mention.
Go for it. Shoot.
And it's specifically based around Venice. So if Venice didn't actually exist and it popped up in like some fantasy thing, a bit like Atlantis, no one would believe that it could exist, but it actually does. Like an entire city built mostly like on water that floods all the time. It's madness. I don't think that people would even dream of it existing except for the fact that it does. And I don't think enough movies and stories revolve around Venice enough because I think it's fantastic. I've only been there once, but it's fantastic.
I've never been, so I really want to go. And we can actually talk about this with Caroline. I'm sure she has an opinion on this, but I'm amazed at how things can stand in water for centuries.
And then they just lift the building up and then change all the foundations and then put it back down again.
It's crazy.
It's madness.
I
It does.
don't.
It does smell.
I've never been. I've never been. I've heard that it smells, but I've never been. I have a big problem with smells, so I don't really like it when it smells too strongly. So yeah, I do.
And then I'm going to move. I'm going to move on because I've got a couple. Um, like signatures. Like signatures are really weird because think about how like what your signature's used for, how much power that little scribble has, and that I reckon this is sort of maybe a question, but I certainly set my signature when I was about 13. So my childish doodle has the most power of anything I've ever written with my hand. I think that's mad.
And so this is cultural because in the US, people sign their name. They sign Cynthia Vergon. Okay? Like Cynthia Vergon. Do they do that in Britain?
It depends. I mean, each to their own. I know because my dad cannot write to save his life. He has the worst doctor's handwriting you've ever seen in the world. You can make out that there's a D on his signature, and the rest of it is a squiggly line.
But it does go through a line like that, and he is, for him, he is writing out his name.
Yeah.
Okay.
And mine's really lazy because I'm lazy. I just literally write Chris and underline it.
Okay.
Because I can't be asked to write my surname, so that'll do. End of. Moving on.
And in France, they are really truly squiggles. Like you are not supposed to write down your name. You're not supposed to make anything. So I'm going to try and air sign my signature. So, oh damn, I have to do it backwards. Well, okay, I'm gonna do it backwards. Sorry, but it's this, and it goes down and then up, and that's it. That's Cynthia Vergon.
Right, and now that's on YouTube for the rest of time for people to commit some kind of identity theft or fraud.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, we used to have like school book things that we needed our parents to sign each week. My mum has a really like neat and very specific signature where she signs her entire name. I can't copy that. I can copy a D with a squiggle. So for about 4 years, my dad signed my logbooks, even though he wasn't in the country. Because I was a really good boy.
I'm sure that my kids have imitated my signature several times. And one time I went to the American Embassy in France, and I had to sign a document. And I signed it the French way. And the ambassador who I was signing in front of said, "Wow, you've really adopted the French way." And I was like, "Oh crap, yeah, sorry. I usually sign the American way when I sign American papers, but I just forget." So now I'm like, hey, my ex-husband is this. It's like a round thing, and then it goes like that. He does a round and then lines through it.
Yeah, some sort of footballer signature.
That's so like
weird. Or celebrity signature, whatever. And then I've got sort of one, maybe two more. I want to do this one. So, what defines a submarine? Like, to me, it's something that goes underwater with human inside it.
Yeah.
So if a pregnant lady goes swimming, does that mean she's a submarine? That's not like a commentary on like any form of pro-life, pro-choice. That's not what I'm here for. But is that not a thing?
I don't know what to say to that. Welcome to Unsung Heroes, y'all. Exactly.
But it's Yeah.
Maybe we can define a submarine as a mechanical vessel. Mechanical vessel? A man-made vessel? Well, no, that would not work. A mechanical vessel?
I mean, yeah, we can go with that. I could argue whether a
hydraulic
human is
vessel?
a machine or not. I'm not going in. Let's not go into that one.
All submarines are machines.
Yeah, but I'm arguing whether I'm arguing. I'm saying, well, maybe a human can be considered a machine.
A human cannot be considered a machine.
Why not?
What is the definition of a machine? Oh,
Performs tasks. Created by humans. Humans are created by humans, and they perform tasks.
Shall we get submersible watercraft? Thank you, Sarah. Sarah, our PA, has just given us the name of submersible watercraft. I do.
Yeah, but then if you define both of those words as well, a human can go underwater, which makes them submersible, and you can, like, how many times have you seen a family in a pool with a mum or a dad with a child on their chest, like backstroking? That's a watercraft.
Yes, but then we get back to our machines. So Kelly, our producer, has put up the definition of a machine, and listen, the key word is going to be what I said: an apparatus using or applying mechanical power and having several parts, each with a definite function and together performing a particular task. A machine is a mechanical device or apparatus. So for me, a submarine is obviously always going to be a mechanical machine.
Should we ask our guest and invite Caroline on?
I think we should. I think on top of it, I think she'll have something to say about it. Let's welcome Caroline Montague to Unsung Heroes.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Hi, y'all.
Hey.
Hi, Caroline. How are you doing?
I'm good today. I'm good. I'm enjoying a nice cup of tea.
Fantastic.
I've got my water.
I love your mug as well. Like,
isn't it great? An Edna Mode mug. And it has its own saucer.
That's awesome.
It protects my desktop so that I don't get sticky tea smudges on my desktop.
That's cool.
Anyway, so
what do you think?
Machines? No, we're not machines. I mean, you can like tongue-in-cheek call me a work machine, but a machine is something made of, like, I totally am on Cynthia's side here, but I do think that a pregnant mom with a baby in utero qualifies as a submarine.
Yes.
The reason I think it's hysterical is we just spent the week at the lake with my sister, who she gives birth in about 3 weeks, and I like to think that she was a submarine. My sister was a submarine, and her baby had its first submersed experience.
The baby's a submariner without actually knowing so.
Correct.
That's amazing.
Baby immediately cool, tick in my box. I couldn't go in a submarine. We did a project refitting in Gosport in the UK, putting a attraction into a submarine that's in a museum. So all the lights go off and all the sounds and the sirens go off as if it's at sea. And they said, "Oh, Chris, do you want that project?" I said, "There's no way I'm going in a submarine. I'm 6'7", and those doors are like yay big. You need to be a hobbit. Send the small people." And then my colleague Mike, who is 6'5" or something similar, had to go and do part of the job. I felt so sorry for him.
I visited a submarine. I think it was in San Diego once. Oh my God! I couldn't. I don't know how they do it. I admire these sailor people, mer people,
submariners.
Submariners.
They're not mer people. They don't have fishtails. All of a sudden, King Trident's just hopping on board a submarine, going, "Oh, here to help y'all." Like, what? Mer people on submarines, Cynthia. Come on.
Give me a break. Give me a break. It's Friday. I've had a week.
So I'll leave the other shower thought till either the end or some other episode, because it's multifaceted. We can talk about it. It is basically socks, and that socks are like the most polyamorous things on the planet, because every time they get washed, they come out with a new partner. And maybe when we lose a sock, those socks are just getting divorced and they've had enough of their group that they're around all the time. So we're just the ones that sock has kept in the breakup, and the other one just goes off to find a new family.
And they do often. They often do, which is really annoying, because I would really like to force my socks to be together forever, monogamous.
So
all of my pairs of socks are different. Like I have pink socks and blue socks and striped socks and polka dot socks.
I've got socks.
They always stay together.
I've got 2 pairs of socks with a button and a buttonhole on them, so that I can button them and put them in the wash, and they come out and they're still together. Now, for my OCD little head that needs to be wearing exactly the same socks on each foot, which means now that they're not exactly the same because one's got a hole, one's got a button, but I'm okay with that, because it means that you don't get two black socks and it's from like one pack that you bought a year ago and one that you bought last week, and then you put them together and one's slightly smaller, one's slightly tighter, one's an off color, like it's just off black, it's slightly gray, and it bothers me.
But
so I wish socks had more commitment.
Do you think about buttoning them before you put them to wash?
I mean, David does my washing, so I don't know if he does or he doesn't. But these ones are actually flash ones. I don't.
Oh, even cooler.
Then they're easy because they've got like decals on them and pictures on them, like a child, so that then I can spot them quickly and grab them both out and wear the same pair.
So, do you have super speed when you wear your socks?
I mean, I work pretty fast, but no. I wish I did. I'd get so much more done, and I could be so much lazier in effect. Because I'm like, I need to nip to the shops. I really can't be bothered. That's going to take 10 minutes, and I don't want to get up. And I'll be like, done. I'm back. Here's the shopping. Now I can sit down for the other 9 minutes.
We're gonna get to the superpower though at the end of the show, but we're not gonna get to the fun questions already.
Bubbers.
David, whenever Chris pretends to do things that he doesn't actually do, do call him out.
I said David does my washing. I didn't pretend I do it. I do the cooking.
That's true, and you apparently do very good cooking. So when you come to my place, when you visit me, you can do the cooking, and David can do my washing, and I'll be happy.
No, he won't do your washing because you two will just be sat somewhere having a glass of wine while I'm slaving over the stove making you a beautiful dinner.
Yay! All right.
Sorry, Kelly. We're 20 minutes in and we've done nothing. Caroline, would you like to introduce yourself and tell all of our viewers all about you?
Sure, happy to. So, hey everybody, I'm Caroline Montague. And as Cynthia alluded to earlier, I'm a registered architect. I have worked in the architecture industry for about a decade now. And I went about going into architecture school because I loved it mashed together math and science and art and design and balance. And there's an order to it. I'm a pretty type A, inside the box person, and it fit what I was looking to do with my life. So when I came out of school, I was a huge fan of the theme park industry, and I loved theme parks. Loved to go. When I grew up in South Georgia, my family had 4 kids, 4 girls, and we lived close enough to Disney World to be able to drive. So we went to Disney World all the time. That was our primary place that we went because we couldn't afford to fly. And my parents loved it because they got to have fun with us. So it was one of those big things that shaped my life. And I found a respect for the way that architecture is implemented in a theme park. A lot of architects, to Cynthia's earlier point, have a stigma against the theme park world and the themed entertainment experience kind of world because it's fake to them. It isn't real architecture. You know, the brick isn't necessarily a brick. It could be sculpted clay. And so that is something that never bothered me. And so once I got out of school, I realized that the industry needed architects, but I wasn't qualified yet to work in the industry. And I applied many times to Disney and to Universal and got turned down because I wasn't ready yet. I just wasn't qualified enough. So I read all of the application requirements. And one of them that was listed as a way to get in was to have hospitality or resort kind of hotel design experience. And there was a firm in Atlanta where I went to school at Georgia Tech. And then I went to Atlanta, stayed in Atlanta. And Gensler, which is a big design firm in architecture, they were opening a studio that was doing hospitality design in Atlanta. And I joined up, and as a stepping stone to my greater career vision. Luckily, one of our first clients that we landed while I was at Gensler was Great Wolf Lodge. And I immediately raised my hand and was like, I got to do it. I was chomping at the bit to work on it and was the first person assigned. And over the course of working with them, had this amazing experience where I got to travel to their offices. I got to go to different pieces of property around the world, not around the world, around the country. And I learned a profound amount that I needed to have in order to be ready for the next step in my career. I had a ton of time with the client. I honed social skills that I didn't have. I was too brash. I was too brusque. I needed to calm down and I needed to grow up. And so working on Great Wolf Lodge was a huge, fulfilling moment in my career. And I'll never forget when I went to the first grand opening of the first lodge that I worked on. I think we have
We need to see that again. I would just all like you to observe the kid in the green shorts and how super bummed that kid is to not have gotten wet. And he's just like standing there like, man, this sucks. Like, we need to watch it again. We need to watch it again. It's hilarious.
He's just like, I don't know what's happening.
There's something on the internet somewhere of a bunch of kids playing the American national anthem, and there's a kid with the two cymbals, and he drops one of them, and he doesn't know what to do, so he just turns around and salutes the flag. It's the most cringeworthy but beautiful moment, and that draws lines to me. To that kid in the green shorts, it's like, oh, I'm supposed to be celebrating, and I'm not because I didn't do the thing.
I didn't get wet, man.
No. He was like, I'm dry. I don't.
Is my hair wet at least? Did I at least?
I don't know what to do with my hands.
It's funny. I've probably watched that clip a few times over the years and never noticed it. I'm too busy like looking at the project and all of this stuff and not the kid in the middle of the frame.
I looked at the banners, then I was looking at the giant bucket. I'm looking at sort of the scenic aspect of it, completely ignoring the children.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. But
now that we've derailed you completely.
Oh, it's all good. So just after that one opened, I had the ability to take my nieces there and show my husband the project. And it was the first time that anything of mine came out of the ground that I was like, everyone must see it, must experience it. And I have lots of good memories of doing that. And I remember fangirling when a celebrity went to the Great Wolf Lodge that I did. And I was like, I did that. That was me. Now, granted, there was a team of hundreds of people that worked on the project, but that's that sense of pride that this physical thing that people are enjoying and they're making their memories there, and they're never going to forget that. That's why I do what I do. And on the hard days, it's the thoughts like that help you just push and get through to the next better day, so that you remember what the big picture is. So I got to go on site for that one a lot too. And the picture that was my headshot for this was me in front of that building in my red hard hat. And it was a great experience. I think we might have a couple of pictures of that. Yeah. And then I think we might have a picture. Yeah. So that's when we went, my husband standing at the taco bus. That was a crazy thing. That's a real bus that was chopped down and shortened, and it's the walk-up window as if it was like a food truck.
Wow.
It really added a lot of ambiance. And then, yeah. Oh, and with my Great Wolf Lodge shirt on in front of the finished building, that was a crazy building to work on. Actually, underground, connecting the two sides of the building was a very long concrete tunnel that was astonishing. I drew it on the paper originally and didn't have a proper respect for just what it was and what it meant to have that. This is actually the only lodge that got to keep it and have it. The subsequent lodges, we changed the floor plan so that it would be much more efficient and we didn't have to have that. But it felt almost like the utilidors in Magic Kingdom.
Okay. Caroline, could you explain for those? I mean, I'm sure I've seen an Undercover Bosses that featured that Great Wolf Lodge did on that TV show. But could you explain what Great Wolf Lodge is as an attraction?
Yeah. So Great Wolf Lodge is a mixture of a water park, a hotel experience, a family entertainment center, and a conference center. And the way that their business model works is they bring you to site to be a hotel guest. And that is what drives the water park. So essentially, you can't get into the water park unless you stay in the hotel. And it's a symbiotic relationship between the two. But lately, they have been increasing their family entertainment center offering so that anyone off the street can come experience that. There's putt-putt and mini golf, and those are the same thing. And mini bowling, a ropes course, a rock wall, lots of things that are fun. And their demographic is about under 11, and they tend to age out after that. But ton of fun. They started out of the Midwest, and they found that even in warmer climates, the indoor water park was still preferred to the outdoor water park areas. Like they have one in Texas, and the one in Texas, the indoor water park performs better than their outdoor water park offering because it's a controlled, you don't have to wear sunscreen. You can run around all day. You can literally let your kids go. They have like similar to a Magic Band, an RFID band on their arms. And they get to experience it, and you can have a cocktail. So that's what a Great Wolf Lodge is. And from a work side, the client, we were hired because Great Wolf Lodge was acquired by a venture capital group, and they wanted to improve the brand and sell the brand off, similar to a fixer-upper. And over the course of time of us working with them, over almost 4 years, the entire C-suite and every VP in the leadership team changed. So we had to re-educate everyone.
Wow.
And by we, I mean, a lot of it was me. And that's how I transitioned from being a more traditional architect to more of a design manager, where you are helping a client make decisions. You're tracking the decision process and making sure that they remember all of the business reasons for why things are where they are in the building and why you can't cut that, or why it might be a good idea to cut that. So that helped me feel more confident about making a jump into a client's organization. So, which leads me to Universal Creative. When things started to wind down with Great Wolf Lodge, it felt like a really great time. I didn't know it, but a lot of my friends were telling me that Universal was doing something big and that it was an opportunity to get on board with them. So I joined up in early 2019 as a facility design manager, which flipped me to being a client, hiring an architect and an engineer to do the facility portion of a theme park of Epic Universe, a portion of that. Yeah, so I got the name tag. I was so excited to see that and have my first day. And they don't tell you what you work on when they hire you. They just say, we have something great to work on. And I luckily got a really great assignment. And I loved the ladies on my team for Halloween. All architecture offices tend to be a little bit more buttoned up than Universal Creative. So I had never dressed up for Halloween, but me and the facility ladies on my land dressed up as the 3 blind mice and had a blast. It was funny to walk into my normal meetings with my, nose drawn on my face and my ears on my head, and run a meeting as a blind mouse. Hysterical. But,
did you stay in character for the whole thing? Like on your screens, you might be able to see something, but I can't.
That would be hysterical, but no. Oh dear. But one of the things about going to Florida was I then had all the people want to visit me. Everyone came to town. My whole family wanted to come see me, and it gave me a different view of the theme parks beyond just my own. I was already a big pin trader, like crazy pin trader. I have a pin board on my wall with my collection. Started when I was like 17, 16, and my nieces got into it. The same ones that I took to Great Wolf Lodge, and we traded pins like crazy. I think we have a couple of pictures as well. And my sisters would come, my mom, my friends, and we had a ton of fun. Yeah. A majority of those pins were traded before I turned 20.
My grandfather also collects pins. He went to Disney for the first time, I think, in the 70s on assignment, and popped into a shop and thought, this is fantastic. He's missing one of the original Seven Dwarfs collection. And he's like, he spent his whole life trying to get hold of this other one, but won't spend more than he did in the first place. And I'm like, money's changed a little bit now. So you need to trade something. And unfortunately, that is a set.
No, it's, I'm a completionist. But I have to accept that sometimes I don't get to complete the set. But yeah, they loved to come to our house and give me a niece sandwich hug.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, so my friends came too, and it was just a lot of fun too. At Universal, it was a perk that I probably took for granted, but I mean, you get a certain number of comp tickets, and you get to give people that might not have had the ability to experience it a chance to go.
That's the real family magic of any of these huge resort parks. But when you get to work in the industry and you can do something like that, I mean, the gratitude that I personally feel from bringing someone that's never been there before, having been, I mean, I've been to Disney World probably 10, 13 times as a Brit. That doesn't happen, and I'm very privileged to do so. But then when I get to bring someone new that's never been there before, they're like, well, what do you do? It's like, you always talk about how you hit a part with military precision. I was like, well, no, I'm doing bang for my buck. I know how I can do this to do everything I want to do. This isn't about me. This is about you and me seeing it again through your eyes.
Yeah.
And that's where some like crazy magic can come in, because having been there so many times and then having someone go, oh, that's really cool, and they point at something that you've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's mad and magical.
No,
I was I love visiting parks with kids. I tend to visit the parks with two of my nieces. My sister from another mother and father has two daughters that are 13 and 10, 11. And I just love visiting parks with them because they love rides. I took them on Osiris in Parc Astérix just a couple of weeks ago, and seeing the magic through their eyes is just, oh my God, it's awesome. It is awesome. And yeah, so go on, Caroline. Please continue taking us on your wonderful story.
Yes. So at Universal Creative, I learned, how I like to describe it is in an architecture office, you probably interface with about 10, maybe 15 people max on your average project. That was about what I did on Great Wolf Lodge. And when I interviewed for the job, I asked, well, about how many people am I going to interface with every day? And they said 50. And I said, did you say 15? No, that was 50. That's how many people you're going to have to work with and coordinate with and talk to daily. And that helped. And it was very true. And it put into perspective just how large. That's just the team for the land that I was assigned to. And that's not including any external vendors. So we had architects and engineers of all different types and vendors and fabricators. And there was a lot. And so it helped me to learn how to be very effective with time. Specifically in meetings, I'll allow about 5 minutes of chit chat and then it's on with business. And I earned the moniker No Nonsense Caroline because I wouldn't say I'm a drill sergeant, but I'm just like politely moving things forward and firm, and we're going to get going. And that's a skill that I'm glad that I honed. Anyway, so over the course of 2020, things went really crazy. Everybody knows. And I was, along with about 700 other people, one of those laid off from the team when it got shut down. So I had to make a choice of whether to stay in Orlando and weather the storm and see how the industry recovered, or to move back to Atlanta, where I had family and roots and also a network. And really, I couldn't find much in Orlando, and I had a great opportunity to come back to Atlanta and work for a company called CBRE as a project manager, a third-party project manager that acts as an owner's rep that would be hired by, any type of company that needs a project manager on staff for them, but they don't have the ability to have it in-house. And the reason I made this choice was also larger. There was a larger influence on my career of I have the ability to be industry adjacent while the industry recovers until I can come back fully. That was at least my thinking. But lately it's evolved, and I actually have the ability to, I'm what's called a doer seller. So I do the work and I sell the work. And lately I am selling us in arts and culture and entertainment. And I'm really excited to be able to start something and work with a director, a female director for the first time ever. I have a female boss, and it makes me so excited to have her support. So that brings us to today.
Wow, awesome. I think it's really cool how life just brings you along paths that you never thought that you would go down, and sometimes you kind of force the passage, like you wanting to, you looking at Universal and Disney's requirements and saying, okay, I need a hospitality, I'm going to go there. Sometimes we force it, but sometimes, life just throws you curveballs, and you just gotta move with the flow, and it takes you down a road that you didn't think about, and that can be so fulfilling. But so surprisingly fulfilling, and yeah, I think that's interesting. It's a journey,
and it has been one. I moved 5 times in 10 years, so I'm good.
No, I've moved twice as an adult, and I promised after the first time I'd never do it again for the stress. And then I've had to do it again, and I'm going to have to do it at least one more time, if not 2 or 3. And I'm just dreading it. I can't function when moving, because all of my normality goes out the window. Everything, your whole life becomes change and pressure and expense all at the same time, whilst you're still trying to do your job with the same amount of dedication and passion as you usually do. I don't understand how people do it. I'm so stressed just thinking about it.
This weekend, Caroline, you don't know this, but at the end of the year, I'm leaving where I live. I'm renting my house for a year to some stranger, and I'm going to Latin America to travel. I'm going to visit themed experiences all over Latin America, themed experiences, museums, themed attractions, etc.
Are you taking a sabbatical?
Sorry?
Is it a sabbatical?
No, it's my own. I have my own business, so I'm gonna be working as a digital nomad, because I translate and I write, and so I can do that anywhere else.
That's right. Okay.
And this weekend I started thinking about my suitcase.
You're gonna have to learn how to live lean.
Yeah, and then thinking, okay, I need to move every 2, 3, 4 weeks, all of my stuff, because I'll have one bag, like one suitcase, and then a small backpack. But what do I put in my suitcase? Like, what is the most important stuff that I can only take with me for a year? Like, I mean, oh my God. And that just like totally stressed me out this weekend. Among the 140 burgers that I cooked for my friends this weekend for the 4th of July.
No. Goodness.
Crazy.
I follow plenty of people on social media that do the like digital nomad traveling lifestyle, and they'll be like, we only travel with these 2 small suitcases for our entire life for 5 years. And I'm like, that's not me.
Yeah. I don't, I mean, I do pack light. I know that I can pack light, but it just, the fact of moving my house, like moving out of my house, but not moving out of my house, making my house so impersonal that anyone else can just come in and live there is it. I mean, oh my God, I'm totally stressed out about it. Yeah. So I'm totally stressed out about it.
Well, take a deep breath, do a 10-minute meditation, and you'll get there.
Yeah, I know. I will make it happen. Everything will be fine. Oh, doggy!
Oh, that's the cutest.
So that was us moving back to Atlanta from Orlando. There's lots of moving pictures in here. I thought it was very funny that I tend to document it, but got to take the most important things. That's Bingley and Lucy. Lucy's the older, she's the one on the right, and Bingley is my baby. It's funny. We got him because my husband convinced me to let us get him, and I hated him for 3 months. I was like, I'm done. I don't like this kid. But then we moved to Florida within 3 months of getting him, and the house had a doggy door, and everything was fine. And he was the best dog I've ever had, and he's my baby. There they are again. They're my sweethearts.
Aww.
They make me exceedingly happy.
They're so cute.
They are. And I always look forward to coming home to see them. And my social media feed is filled with, particularly Bingley, because he tends to hang around me a little bit more, so he ends up in my pictures.
So is that one of the hardest challenges you've had to deal with then, moving with puppers?
Oh God, no. They're pretty easy. They're really, we chose those breeds because they travel very easily. Like we're going to our vacation place this weekend, and we're taking them with us, just throwing them in the back seat, and we're going. I'm glad that they're small too, so it's easy to find people to sit them, and yep.
I just have my 2 cats. So
no cats.
Challenges, very much a dog person then.
100%.
Oh, shut up. I love dogs too. I have 2 cats because at the time I wanted pets, and but my wife at the time, mad cat lover, 100% cat person, and I was traveling, so I say traveling with work, so I couldn't have said let's have a dog, and then
leave.
Anyway, so she left me with the cats.
Oh.
So I still have 2 cats, and David and I would much prefer a dog.
Well, I mean, we'll eventually be able to get a dog.
Eventually. If he wants a dachshund, and I want a big dog. Like I want something that's huge and terrifying, and also wonderful and cuddly.
Huge dogs are actually not terrifying.
No, I want like a Rottweiler or a Doberman or something. Just like one that looks like a machine and looks proper angry, but is actually just like tickle my belly.
Oh, that was.
I have a mixed race Jack Russell, and she's so cute. And she's on vacation at my mom and dad's house in the south of France, because my mom and dad are older, and they want to have someone to take care of. And so we share. Thank you, Ed. Yes, I think Chris certainly does need a Saint Bernard.
I need 2 or 3 to drag me home.
And Ed, happy birthday.
It's Ed's birthday today.
It is Ed's birthday today. So happy birthday, Ed.
Happy birthday. I won't sing songs. Sorry.
No, we're not going to sing songs.
As much as it's your birthday and we love you, Ed, it's not about you.
There we go. Happy birthday, Ed. There, yeah.
It's your birthday.
So
Caroline.
Let's go back to Caroline. Caroline, so if we were to ask you, what do you know now that you wish you could have told yourself when you were starting out?
I think, and this is advice that I had to learn this lesson the hard way, and it was always be nice and always be honest. I think when I started out in my career, I mean, with my first job, I straight up lost my first job because I pissed off the wrong people and I wasn't nice. And you have to realize that nobody wants to work with an asshole. Nobody wants to have an ornery person on their team. And I had to learn that and embrace being kind and respecting everyone. And you get a lot of respect in return by giving respect. So that was something that I would have told persnickety young Caroline to do. And the other is to try not to stress about it all. It's not worth the stress of, oh my God, am I going to end up in the industry? Am I going to get this job? Am I going to keep this job? Like, stressing about it does not help. It never never results in anything other than you just being worried and unhealthy. And I still deal with my own stress now, but I think I have learned to trust that I have the skills and the hustle to get through whatever.
I mean, that's fantastic, and fantastic advice to anyone, not just young Caroline.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a lesson that many adults have not learned yet.
The be nice one, the don't stress one.
Be respectful.
Yeah.
And so I have a thing, and it's a genuine question on respectful matters, and because I know I'm a nightmare for coming across differently than I intend to, all the time, and I'm like, showing respect and respecting someone, I think, are different things. Like showing respect for someone's position, that they've earned it and they've got there. I think that's one thing, and I respect their position because they've got that far. And that's like the job role they're fulfilling. Now, whether I personally respect them or not is a different matter. That's just a couple of little doggies there. Not mine as well, obviously. I have cats. Completely railroaded me.
Well, I'm happy to save you for a second. So I learned they brought a speaker to Gensler a few years ago, and it was a person talking about earned respect versus awarded respect. And there's a very big difference between someone being put in a position and you don't know them yet, and there's that initial level of respect that is demanded by the position, but that there is earned respect is when someone has put themselves out on the line for you, and then you respect them far greater, and it lasts far longer than the awarded respect of just having the position. If it's great if you can have both, but and I found that to be the case. Like I could have a creative director over me and think that they're a total imbecile, but I could also have a production designer that runs circles around the team and is amazing, that I respect far more.
So I think we're agreeing, and I'm maybe not just understanding very well. Because the person that's like the awarded respect, as you said, that's in the position and their position commands respect.
Correct.
Then now if that person then makes an effort to earn yours, to work with you and show you the same sort of olive branch of respect in your position, they end up being the people right up the top of the whole industry, and anyone that works with them loves being around them because they are perceived to be the best at what they do. They're always looking after everyone, and I just think that's such a fantastic and rare thing to see. A lot of the people that I've worked with on a lot of the projects that I've worked with is I'm in charge and you will do what you're told. But then I work a lot in the Middle East, and that's Middle Eastern culture, and I hold this position, you will do what you're told, you are my subordinate. And I don't like that, and I don't like being spoken to like that, and then everybody hates Chris.
My perception is aligned with yours. Yes, it's
fantastic.
Yeah.
It can get touchy when you're in those situations. Is that maybe part of the lessons that you've learned in life, to just be nice and to be respectful? Is that like the lesson that you would have to show?
That tends to be that tends to be one of my things to live by. It's that, and always be honest. Don't lie. Don't try to bullshit it, because if it comes out that you lied, that you said something that eventually was untrue, then you've lost respect. You've lost their trust, and trust is everything when it comes to dealing with a client. There are plenty of ways to gracefully admit that you don't know and that you're going to find out. But that to me has always proven that even if you may not understand what you need to do. You may not understand how to answer the question for them. They know that you aren't lying to them.
I can't answer that right now, but I will get back to you the second that I've spoken to my team.
Right. And then they know, though, if you then a few weeks later spit out numbers or say this is critically over budget or we're not hitting our schedule, then they trust and understand the severity of what you were saying.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you. I'm sorry. I'm like, when you start a new project, when you started this new job, what was it about that new job, or what is it about a new project that gets you so excited that you just love?
So preparing for today, I thought back a lot on things, and the trend was the thing that makes me so excited is how much I get to learn when I worked at Universal, learning the whole vocabulary of how a theme park is put together, what type of things they have to do. It's that learning and digging into how the players work together, how the team is structured, and with Great Wolf Lodge is much deeper into hospitality and how a hotel runs and what's important to it all. And that, to me, I am an avid learner. And even now in this new job, I'm learning what it means to build relationships, to do business development, and that's important to me.
And you're dropping. Is it just me, or is Caroline dropping out?
Only a little bit. She's back now. We heard what you said, Caroline, but your picture is going a
I'm sorry, where did I cut out?
You didn't cut out. You're fine. We're just nervous that we're going to drop you at any moment. I'm hoping that everything stabilizes, because otherwise Cynthia and I will end up on a massive tangent. And we'll get back in and you'll be like, so where's the conversation? And we'll be like, Mars. I think we're good enough. So where you've changed out of Universal and gone to go and work for your new company, so how does your current role fit into projects that you're working on? And we can hear you.
I think so I'm getting garbled. I'm getting garbled audio. I don't know if y'all can hear me.
We can hear you fine.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So the way that a project manager fits into a team, a project manager hired as a third party is if there's a client, let's take an example, a small museum in the Midwest. They are a museum proprietor. That's their job. They don't understand construction. They don't understand architecture and the design process, or maybe they understand it a little, but they run a museum for a living. They have a job already. So if they want to renovate or expand or maybe even build a new facility, they would engage us to act on their behalf in their best interest as a third party, because we understand the process of putting together a building and shepherding them through design, documentation, and construction of their new thing. So one of the things I like to say is I understand how to translate architect to engineer and engineer to client and client to architect so that everyone can understand each other. And that's, to me, the skill that's needed to be a project manager.
Is that what you like the most about your job, or is there another aspect that you like the most about your job?
That's a really good question. I think the thing I like most is being a catalyst for forward motion, for progress. So if the project is behind or something is not going well, digging in and understanding why it's not working and pulling everyone together to have a very open dialogue. Do you understand each other? Are you getting there? And feeling like the project was pushed in a positive direction because of my intervention.
That's awesome. Do you have a dream project that you would love to work on?
That's a really good question.
Or even like as it's on the screen, even an IP that like you think you could translate fantastically.
The thing I'm itching to do is, either a science museum or not necessarily something in the theme park vein that has a lot of overlapping vendors and scopes that need the knowledge of a theme park, as in how much scenic work is involved, and that's where I hope to bring value to a client. I would really love to work on a project that pushes me into a different kind of project type, but using the same sorts of knowledge and helping them run a job better because of that.
And well, the one of our last very serious questions is, if there were something that you could change in this industry, what would it be?
So I think a catalyst for change starts at the beginning of the chain. And to me, the beginning of the chain is our youth and the people that are going to grow up to become architects or designers or illustrators. And there's not enough of a diverse array of people that are exposed to it at an age where they are impressionable enough to grow up and want to do it. There's a little bit of outreach in the architecture community, where I went to a lower income high school in Georgia and taught, at least just exposed kids to the fact that an architect is a thing, that we're here and a contractor is a thing. And that is, to me, not the easiest, but it's the first step towards, we talk about diversity a lot, but you can't have diversity if the people that are growing up don't understand that we're even here. It's getting the exposure out there and opening their eyes to who and what we are, so that they can want to go after it and have that internal fire.
I mean, to that point, the college that I went to, so that's like high school, I think, in the States, as the translation works between English and American. The high school I went to, I started working for my family company and working for my dad, and then persuaded him that it was a really good idea to go back to my college and present to that college, which was something like 3,000 students. And it was, you can come if you want. He had to do the presentation twice because people from the first one said, you should have really been there, and he had to go back. And the way that he posed it to the students, I thought was so engaging and fantastic, in saying, right, how many people does it take to run a theme park? And then he goes, now how many people does it take to build a theme park? And the people offer up, the few that would put their hands up, and it would be the same 5 or 6 really confident or engaged nerdy kids at the time. And then more people started getting involved. And like, okay, so you're training to, what are you training to do? What are you doing? What are you studying right now at this high school / college? And oh, I'm doing a vocational course in plumbing. Have you seen the water shows? Have you seen the water parks? That's just pipes. It's pipes moving water. You understand that then you can have a career in a theme park. Anyone else? And then as the sort of the cogs started moving in all of the heads, more and more hands started going up, and it was one of the coolest things to watch I've ever seen. A bunch of teenagers completely disinterested, all of a sudden becoming interested, and that's exactly, I think, the point you just made.
No, it is for sure.
So our final serious question, because you are the unsung heroes of this episode, we'd like to ask you who is your unsung hero. So it could be a teacher, a colleague, it doesn't matter. Your employer, unsung hero for you.
So mine is, might seem a little odd at first. It's actually a fellow member of the TEA and a member of the industry that I've never worked with, but I'm immense friends with, and his name is Garrick Hansen, and he's probably going to kill me for calling him out, but I went to IAPA for the first time. I was encouraged to go by my design director out of LA, and I had never been before. I really hadn't done any networking before. I was so overwhelmed and I was so intimidated by the whole process. And at the first mixer that I went to, guy next to me at the bar turns to me and says, "How you doing? What you got going on tonight?" And I looked at him. I was like, "I'm so overwhelmed and I don't know what to do and I don't know how to network and like, what do I do? How do I?" And it was Garrick, and he was so kind and so sweet. And he was like, "Oh, don't you sweat it. Come on, let me introduce you to all my friends." And from that point forward, I just happened to open up to the right person at the right time. Garrick is the one on the left-hand side of the picture. And he, as I was working at Gensler, we stayed in touch, and he was one of those people that knew what was going on at Universal and encouraged me to go to Universal and to get that experience and see what it felt like. And I admire him immensely. He's done a lot for TEA, for the Eastern Board, and a lot of the events that happen on the East Coast are a result of his hard work.
That's cool.
Fantastic shout out for a fantastic human.
Yeah.
That has to be one of my most fuzzy, warm feeling questions that we have.
Yeah.
I love it when people can actually select someone that has had such a positive influence in their lives, and I don't think that we say thank you enough in our life. We don't call people out on how wonderful they can be enough. And so that's cool. I don't think I've ever met Garrick. If I have, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't remember you, Garrick. I feel so horrible, but
I think it's all good. He's an engineer at EXP and a principal, and thinking back and thinking about it now, he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to be so genuine and kind. And when I have next gen people approach me, I have to remember and think, okay, I was given the time and the respect and the encouragement by a veteran of the industry. I need to model that behavior and do that for the next generation.
I think that is one of the things that that's one of the things that defines the TEA for me.
Yeah.
That welcoming, come and let me introduce you to my friends attitude. I think it's something that I experienced when I came to the TEA, and yeah, it's a beautiful industry and it's a beautiful association.
And we need more architects in it.
And we need more architects in it, exactly.
And we need more museum operators as well, because it's still themed experience. It's still immersing you in a culture and a history. And I mean, I love museums. I work in museums. Occasionally I do get to do crazy attraction / theme parks, which we do more and more of at the moment, but still there's something. The issue in England is the museums are always in an ancient building that's been there for hundreds of years. It's very rare that it's put up specifically for it. So it's like, how can you fit all of that tech into this room? By the way, it's a chapel, it's a listed wall. You can't bring any power or data through the wall. You can't fix to the wall, but I want to have this experience in this room. Go. and then we're just like, I'm sure we'll come up with something, and we always do in the end. But the more themed that museums can be, themed around their story and what they're getting at, the more likely, in my opinion, they seem to be able to get visitors, because it becomes more engaging and immersive, like a theme park.
Yeah.
But is it the same in architecture, where sort of museums are growing towards technology and growing towards theming, and then architecture, is that the same? Because you started off saying something quite similar, Caroline, that like, because that's not proper architecture, it's not interesting to architects.
No, that's part of the issue. They don't like that it has that connotation of being fake. They would much rather work on. So it's funny that you say you want a new museum, but there's also an issue where architects get a hold of a museum and it's their like star piece in their portfolio, and they're more concerned about what it looks like on the outside and how glorious it can be, as opposed to how you actually experience it inside and how flexible it may be. And I think I agree we need more architects in the industry, but it's getting over a stigma about using materials to be fake. It's pretty much drilled into you in school because it's a trickle down thing where your professors think that it's really dumb that they don't want it's actually a duck is a duck fallacy. They'll show you a picture of a duck, like a rubber ducky, and then they'll say, then there will be a building shaped like a rubber duck, and that is it's too kitsch to them. It's not architecture.
It's not serious.
Right.
The architect that I was talking to yesterday, I think I said this in our pre-show, the architect that I was talking to yesterday said, but theme parks aren't serious. and
right.
And I was like, what? No, well, they're there to have fun, but the architecture is serious. I mean, if the building crumbles, and it's just, I mean, there may be a little bit of French culture in there to adding to the fact that the French, when they do, architects in France are very well respected and are probably placed very high up in society. When you say you're an architect, it's like, oh wow, like higher than a doctor. It is just one of those things. Engineer is the top one. When you say you're an engineer, you're like, oh yeah, oh wow, and then there's architect, and then doctor is kind of like below there somewhere. I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but I think that I have a doctor friend, and I think she would actually agree that society considers her less than an engineer or an architect. And it's just, anyway. So this is France.
So all of a sudden France is the problem. No, it's not. Doctors, doctors are the best people. Doctors go top of my list. Doctors and nurses, top of my list. They're the best people anywhere.
Well, I think that, we couldn't live without them. That's for sure.
I mean, like, it's when it's something properly when it's something properly gross and they just go like, that's fine, I'm going to deal with that. And I couldn't. That makes a doctor better than me, or it makes a nurse better than me. No judgment, no foul, nothing rude, no flippant responses, nothing nasty. They just go, yeah, we'll just fix that for you. I couldn't do that for anyone. No doctor for me. Should we ask fun questions and not go into gross stuff?
Sure, do it.
Let's go for the fun questions. Shall we do the fast ones?
Should we do a couple of slow ones first and then do the fast ones? Okay, so I'm going to start with some of the slower ones. Caroline, if you were on the game show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and you could have anyone on the planet as your phone a friend, who would you pick? Doesn't have to be a friend. anyone on the planet who would be your phone a friend, and why?
Well, I don't know if he's still alive. Stephen Hawking, because he's just so damn smart.
He's not, but you can have him.
Oh, okay.
We'll just ship him in because this is all hypothetical madness.
Or you could have Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, but then Stephen Hawking is level of logic that Neil deGrasse Tyson isn't quite there yet.
Come on, I'm a pretty revenge person here.
Okay.
If you had to be stuck in a TV show for a month, what show would you pick, and which character would you be?
Stuck in a TV show for a month. Oh, the Great British Baking Show.
What? And you'd be what, Mary Berry or?
Oh no, I would be Mel.
You'd be Mel Gilroy.
No, I adore the Great British Baking Show. Good Lord, watched it like 4 times over, all of it.
She has another TV show in the UK on a channel called Dave that sort of has not the greatest of reputations, and it is one of the most awful shows I've ever seen. It's so cringy, but then as Sarah said in our little chat there, on Taskmaster, which I think is a global platform now, I know the Aussies have it. Is Taskmaster reached America? No.
Not for me.
So you have a comedian that's like the Taskmaster, and then another comedian being the first one's effectively bitch, but like commands all the tasks, and then you have 4 or 5 comedians that are competing, and it's all ridiculous challenges. Like you walk outside and there's a washing line with 60 socks on it, 60 red socks along it, and you have to identify which one has the tangerine in it. But you can squeeze 10, you can bite 4, you can look in 1, you can throw 6, and you've got to just come up with this mad way of guessing at it, and it ends up being pandemonium because British comedians are all absolutely mental, and Mel was on that as a contestant, and it was hilarious.
Oh my God,
that was a lot.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Cynthia, do the fast ones.
All right, Caroline. I'm just gonna say that banner comes up. What is happening? That comes up on every single show at least 2 or 3 times.
Mostly when you're talking as well, because I've just finished.
No.
It's always me that triggers it, but it always comes up just as you speak, because I'm like, uh-oh, Chris needs to shut up.
All right, Caroline, apples or oranges?
Oranges.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Oh my goodness. Best sandwich?
Tuna.
All right.
Tuna, I've got questions.
Tuna salad with like all the good fixins in it. I did one this past week and it was so good.
Do you put mustard in your tuna sandwich?
I put a little Dijon mustard, mayo, chives, green onion, pickle, relish, mayo, salt, pepper.
Wow. When I first came to France, because I love tuna sandwiches. And when I first came to France, I asked for a tuna sandwich with mayo and mustard. And the lady, you usually get your sandwiches in boulangeries in France. And the lady looked at me and
so naughty.
We do not put mustard in tuna sandwiches. And I was like, why not? It's good. And she said, well, you can get your mustard elsewhere, but we're not putting mustard in our tuna sandwiches. And I was like, what? Damn. Come on, guys. Anyway. All right, next. One thing you own that you actually should throw out.
I'm pretty good at purging because we move all the time. One thing I own that I should probably throw out. Like 10-year-old dresses that haven't fit in years.
Ah, okay.
Can't say I have that problem. My dresses fit perfectly all the time.
I have different sized dresses to go along with my different sized body. You know, it goes up and down, and that's just life.
No, it's true, but like it's getting to the point where they haven't fit in so long and they're out of style.
Yeah, that does happen. That does happen. Favorite smell?
Freshly harvested lavender.
Ooh. You should come down to where my parents live in the south of France.
So good.
It's beautiful. And it is so nice. And the smell is just beautiful. Your least favorite smell?
The smell of the sewage in New York City.
In our private chat, Kelly said Venice at low tide.
Agreed.
What song would you choose if you had to listen to it for the rest of your life?
Oh gosh, what is it called? I'm really bad with the names of songs.
Welcome to Unsung Heroes Karaoke. Next up on stage, it's Caroline. Sorry.
Oh God, not that. I love the song, but I could not listen to that forever. Probably. You might not know Explosions in the Sky, but it's kind of like rock, like poetic rock. No words. The lack of words would allow it to actually be okay.
We will look that up. You know, we're doing a Unsung Heroes playlist.
Oh, Kelly, good answer. Epcot BGM all the way.
That was pure excitement there.
Oh, yeah. I literally have BGM on loop. I'll go through different parks or different hotels.
Oh my God. Okay. If you had to read one book over and over again and only that book, which would it be?
The 100-Year-Old Man That Climbed Out the Window and Disappeared.
I've never heard of that book.
It's by a Swedish author named Jonas Jonasson, and it's hysterical.
Okay. We have to get our book list going too. And my last question is, because this is Unsung Heroes, if you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Oh.
Who's got the dogs?
Me. Sorry, that's Lucy and Bingley. They're just really amped up about the fact that their dad left. Okay, what was the question? Damn, I'm sorry.
If you had a superpower, which one would it be?
I would probably, I don't know, want flight so I could get places really quick.
Superflight.
Superflight.
You don't want to just like lightly levitate over the Atlantic Ocean. You want to be like, pow, now I'm here.
Okay, I'd like to revise the answer to be, I'd like to be Wonder Woman because, she's pretty badass.
She is pretty badass.
I agree. I love her work with the lasso. I wish I could do that. I went to a rodeo when I was in Franklin, Tennessee, and I tried with the lasso, but no. It's a technique. It didn't work. I felt ridiculous. I was ridiculous. Chris.
I mean, I was going to say I refused. The one that goes with that is people throwing axes, like lassoing and axe. I was organising my best friend's stag do, which is bachelor party. I think that translates as.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was organising that, and they're like, "Oh," I said, "These are some of the things that we can do," and loads of them said, "Oh, we like at this place you can do axe throwing, and that might be kind of macho and kind of cool." And I was like, "If I do that, I'm going to kill someone." Like, by mistake, I'm going to throw it. It's going to bounce off and it's going to murder someone. So we can't do axe throwing. I'm just going to throw my best man hat in the ring and say, no, we're not doing that. So we did something called rage buggies instead, which were four-wheel drive on dirt vehicles that just went sideways all the time. It was amazing.
I'm okay with this. The mosquito.
I don't.
So
We need that reference before I ask that final question. I need what that reference is.
It's where Wonder Woman is from.
I thought she was Amazonian. I'm a Marvel person.
No, it's where the Amazons were placed, and on Themyscira it's shielded from the world, and so
right.
They are Amazons, but they were put there by Zeus.
So I'm totally Asgardian in my Marvel. Like that's where I am. Very much not a god of anything. I'd be one of those subservients, just like, okay, Thor, I'll fix your armor. Oh, I'd love to be Loki, Kelly. I'd love to be God of Mischief.
Well, you kind of are already.
I have so much fun. So anyway, to finish off all of our questions, we always ask Caroline, all of our guests, this same question, and it's the only one that is definitely involved in every Unsung Heroes episode. So if you had to wear a hat for the rest of your life, which one would you pick between the big hat and the little hat?
The big hat.
And you can never take it off.
Right away. Fast.
It's so much cuter, the big hat, for sure.
I don't get this. I need to get a better little hat, Cynthia. But now
Has anyone ever picked the little hat?
Yes.
Yes. Sometimes. Rarely, but sometimes.
No, the big hat's cute.
There is a couple, but the reason I pick the little hat, purely for me, is because of the height difference. I'm already the height of a door, and I don't want to have to duck that far. But we're taking the big hat.
I'm short, so I'll take any extra inches I can get.
Okay, and then if I put the little hat on as a fascinator?
Hat on a hat.
Double hat Caroline. That'd change how people remember you.
Conception. Hysterical, Kelly.
Conception. Isn't that hat inside a hat, not a hat on a hat?
Kelly, you need to put your comments in the banners because everyone else has to enjoy your commenting.
Your banter.
Or just pop up. Can we have both of our wonderful production team humans come in and say hi?
Please.
Yay!
Hi,
Hello.
Sarah. Hi, Kelly. Thank you very much.
Hat section.
I have a question though. Wouldn't the top hat then be inside the little hat?
Yes.
No, it wouldn't be inside it. It doesn't go inside it. It would be underneath it.
Oh,
But if you have
My
the
head
hat
can't go inside
inside,
the top hat because it doesn't fit, so it's on my head.
Potato, potato.
And then the little hat does not fit the big hat inside, so therefore it's on the big hat.
I have a
if it's a
follow-up question.
fascinator on the head.
Sarah has a follow-up question.
How many hats before it's too many hats?
I will find out.
Oh. There's a children's book. The Hat Vendor.
Oh.
I think it's going to be 7.
7 hats.
I think 7 hats. I think I can wear 7 hats without it being entirely ridiculous, because I will have reasoning
All right,
of why.
TA
it's not
International Mixer. TA International Mixer. At IAPA. You'll be watching and waiting.
Absolutely.
Okay. I've lost my
All right.
motion. Okay, little hat's just fallen off and it's hit my graphics card and I've lost all video outputs on my screen. So can I come off of screen so that I can find out what's gone wrong?
Well, sure.
Oh my gosh. It's always a fun time here.
It always is not planned. Put it that way. But we love it like that. Caroline, we're at the end of the show. Before we finish, thank you for being on the show. Where can our fans and our audience find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. That is my preferred way to be contacted. I watch it every day. And you can see right there.
Yes, it is right there. All right. Well, everyone, I don't know if Chris is going to be able to come back, but thank you so much, Caroline, for being on the show. Thank you, our two wonderful producers who are on the show for the sign off. It feels so good to have you. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, to follow, to slightly fondle, to slightly press all of our little buttons. Caroline, this is the way we do things. Thank you again. Thank you again, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Make the world a better place and go hug a hero. Bye-bye.